All right, guys, we're just loading up here for Kansas, getting ready to head out. I wanted to take a second and just show you what's in my backpack, what all we're taking. First thing we got is we got our stuff in from Bushnell, our R5 series stuff. We got the binocs, we got the rangefinder, a scope, carrying case for both the binos and the rangefinder. So I'm just going to take this whole case with me, and when we're out there during the middle of the day, it's going to be hot, 90, 92, whatever. You know, give us some stuff to do, set these up and get all the straps the way I like them and stuff. So there's our optics going to our backpack here. Let's see what all we got. I'm big on having extra hooks when you get in a tree, hanging rattling antlers or whatever, you know. This is the other things I always carry with me. Some ratcheting pruners. You get in a tree and you got some shoots that grew up in your way, you can trim those, or you set up on the ground, you can trim it out. Must have gotta have a skinning knife. Got another knife. Let's see what else we got. Oh, so I don't like to carry my rattling antlers early in the year when you're not as likely to rattle. But I will carry a rattling bag because they're, you know, lightweight and they don't take up a bunch of room. So worst case scenario, you want to try and throw the old rattle bag at him. Look at that. There he comes. Called one in already. So we got that. Keep this in my jacket. This is some of the stuff I keep in my jacket here. So this one I'll usually keep in a pocket. My lens cleaner, you've seen that before. I love to clean my binos with that, and of course the camera lens. Here's a bow holder I've carried with me for quite a few years. For a hub line, you just wrap this over the fiberglass rod in the hub, like so, and you can just hang your bow on that like that. Works out pretty slick, lightweight, and doesn't take up any room. Carry some SD cards if I'm out, walk past a camera on the way to a tree stand or whatever. I have SD cards with me. A nice, bright, lightweight flashlight, LED light. It'll also clip to your hat if you want it for walking. I usually just carry it down low. Nothing seems to notice too much. Gear retriever, you gotta have this. So I use this one for my bow. I just leave it hooked to my pocket here. Use this for my bow. I've got one for the backpack as well. I don't like the extra weight climbing up in the tree stand. Of course, some gloves. Just grab this extra flashlight to bring with us if we get on a tracking job or we get one killed and we need to do some skinning or whatever. It's got a kind of a floodlight there. Here's another light. It's just super bright if you need to shine a long ways. It's got strobe, wide angle, or like spotlight, which this thing is crazy bright for no bigger than that flashlight is. Always carry this windicator. You can just use baking soda if you run out of this. I think cornstarch is what they use in these, but baking soda works good too. Some survival stuff I've got. This is stuff I used to take with me out west. So Kansas, I mean, we're probably not going to get stranded out there, but you never know. Better to be safe. Of course, I've got my broadhead rangefinder, one of my favorites there, and I really like it on this tether. You know, I just keep it hooked right here, pick it up, you on the tether, let it back down. Seems to work good for me. The other good one is when you have the zip pocket right here, or the magnet pocket right there is pretty handy too. One other thing I got just for safety, if you were to get stranded out there, I've got a water bottle that's got a filter system in it. You can just stick this in a stream, pond, whatever, and this will filter fine enough to take out all your parasites, your bacteria, whatever. So could be important. I feel like this is more something you'd use in Colorado or out west when you're in the mountains way out in the middle of nowhere. But it doesn't hurt to throw it in the backpack. You got it in an emergency. So this is the main stuff we're taking with us. Obviously we got my bow, which I'll show you here in just a second. Here's some ancillary products we need. The infamous Jose Canseco weed whipper. take your best shot, boys. Just gonna bring a handsaw. We got to do a little trimming. You know, it's gonna be pretty hot, so I know we're gonna hunt mornings. My plan is to try and get a vantage point in the morning, because we don't have tree stands or anything out here. I've never been to this farm. And so I'd like to get a vantage in the morning and see if we can't see something, go back to bed and try a spot and stalk. I really love spot and stalk. I mean, back in the day when I hunted Colorado all those years, that was my favorite hunt, probably still is to this day, is spot and stalk mule deer. You're watching game all day, you're in the action all day, and it's a great hunt. So I wouldn't mind going out there and trying to spot and stalk one if we can. If we hunt in the evenings, as hot as it's gonna be, I think we're just gonna try and find water and hunt water. So that's the plan right now. Let's get her loaded up and we'll be on the road before you know it. Thank you. All right, guys, we're sticking with the pressure practice. We're getting ready to start loading up for Kansas, but first, I'm gonna give myself 2 shots to hit that 2-inch black tape out there at 50. She's a little poke. I get 2 shots to do it. You know, I was watching the chase yesterday. It was the Office one where Gavin was on there. He had some really good stuff on there, some archery stuff that I really enjoyed. So nice job on that, Gavin. The only thing I would say watching that is when you get everything dialed in, you may want to try and find that pressure practice somewhere. That's where everything melts down and just, you know, you got the big buck that you're after coming in, and it's really easy to forget all that stuff that we practice, and that's where that pressure practice will keep you thinking straight at the time. But in your honor, Gavin, I'm gonna send a couple at 50 here, the black tape on the left side there. Not sure where that one went, boys and girls. Got Devin cracking up over here. I'll show you how I'm trying to fire that. Might be interesting to some of you guys. So when I get back to full draw, I get anchored, get everything seated the way I want it. I put a little pressure on my thumb right here, and then I'll also squeeze with my ring finger and then start pulling against that. I'm not necessarily just trying to squeeze with my thumb, because I think anytime you're thinking about squeezing the trigger or you can feel it move, it's going to lead to target panic. And so that's why I shoot a hinge a lot nowadays. But this also, I can shoot this the most accurate actually. A thumb button, this whippersnapper right here, I can shoot very accurate. This one's for you, Gavin. Here he comes. Big buck you're after on public. He's out at 50. Do you shoot 50? Or do you wait for a better shot? Gosh, I don't know what you do. You 10 ring him, I think is what you do. I think they're both in. Let's go see. Nothing crazy to write home about. It just depends on the day. Some days I'll have groups like this down here. Other days I can have 4 arrows touching. You just never know. It's all about concentration. How well can you concentrate that day? That's what it comes down to. Archery is all about letting go. Remember that, it's all about letting go. So for this week, that's all we've got for you. I've got to have my footage in now, but on next week's show, we should have this Kansas trip along with whatever hunting we do out there. We're going to move some cameras around. So we'll have all that on next week's trip. We couldn't get any of it on this week's show. So anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.